Right then guys, scanners. I'll give you a little insight into scanners today. Front door diagnostics and back door diagnostics. You're going to like the back door diagnostics, aren't you? Because that's what this is. Right, so I have a warning lamp comes on the vehicle when I start it up. Okay, what I know about this vehicle is multiplex, and the systems all communicate with each other when they're charged with energy. Okay, it's come up with a DTC, it's come up with a warning lamp, okay, which is ABS. Yeah, know that. Okay, if you have an ABS fault, the vehicle, the brakes will revert to normal braking. Okay, ABS is enhanced braking and it doesn't work all the time. It is intervention braking, okay, and it only activates when it sees that you're in trouble. Okay, so the scanner that I have here is quite an expensive one. There's nearly £2 worth, but what's in here is the updates that I've had over the last 4 years. I think it is now 3 to 4 years. I've now stopped this subscription. I don't find it necessary because I'm not working on brand new cars, and this is actually a year behind. But what this does, as opposed to the cheap versions, this will read all the ECUs in a vehicle. So if you're going to look for something in par with this, then what you need to do is find something that will read everything that's suitable for your needs and suitable for your skill level. Yeah, or if you're going to learn, you're going to have to wade deep. Okay, Foxwell do something for about 140, 150 quid, I think, and as far as I know, that looks quite good. Guy at work's just got one, and I have recently got some emails from Chinese producers, and usually I say no, I'm not interested in diagnostic equipment, but I'm going to get a couple. I'm going to try them out and show you how they work. Yeah, this is my mainstay. Okay, this is this is back door diagnostics, which means we're going into the back door of the ECU and we're reading what the information is there. Okay, and yeah, okay, so Citroen on this one, it will ask me what year it is and it'll do an automatic search. Okay, 2002, which is right at the bottom of the list. This is not the same as EOBD or OBD2 scanner. This reads all the ECUs. OBD, EOBD2, sorry, get it around the right way. EOBD, OBD2 is only engine management. Okay, so yeah, this has got the chassis number on it, and it's come up with all the ECUs that are in there, which is, and I'll tell you what these are: engine management, transmission, anti-lock brakes, airbag, radio, BSI, and service interval reset. We will talk about this later because that's quite important. Electric steering, yes, it has electric steering, and wheel alignment. No, that's an interesting one actually. I've never tried that. Electric steering, you can actually check it on live data to see how the voltage is used when you're steering, and this does do live data, graphing live data. Okay, right, so what we're going to do, we're going to talk to the ECU. All these ECUs are separate on here because it's multiplexed. They're all separate, but they are linked together, and the engine uses the ABS modulator to get information to find out what the wheel speeds are. Important. Okay, so the codes on this one will be front left wheel speed sensor, signal open circuit or short circuit to earth or short circuit to positive battery. Right, what this is telling me, because the code is coming up with the vehicle static, not moving, that is not related to the ABS stator or reluctor ring. Okay, that's the actual sensor or the wiring, but it could be further than that. It could be a connector between the sensor and the wire that goes to the ECU, or it could be the ECU plug, or it could even be the modulator ECU itself could be faulty. It could be corroded and broken at that point. Yeah, so there are a lot of possibilities. It's not that you go and change an ABS wheel speed sensor just because it's told you that has an open circuit or a short circuit. Okay, yeah, so to me that says wiring, that's screaming wiring. Okay, but it could actually be the sensors broken up inside. And because it was manhandled by me on a wheel bearing change, because it's old, and I've had this a lot of times, is the wheel speed sensors is at the end of its life. Yeah, it's been disturbed and it's broken, or I may not have plugged it in. properly. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, so what we're looking at here is doing something called front door diagnostics. Okay, now front door diagnostics means using something like an oscilloscope, which I have here, which is an excellent piece of kit, and I will be using this from time to time. 2 channels, so I can read 2 things in one go and make comparisons on this screen here. This is voltage over time, or time over voltage, whichever way around you want to say it. So it will read it in graph form, live data from the component itself rather from an ECU. Okay, so you can tap into components either at an ECU end or at the component end. Okay, so you can watch the operation and the voltage as it changes. Yeah, the easiest way, of course, is with a multimeter. Yeah, it's a common old garden multimeter, and this is probably what you're going to prefer. A lot of technicians prefer multimeters because they're cheap, they're easy to understand. Personally, I don't get on with these. I prefer to see it in visual form. Okay, so I invested in that for myself. Oscilloscopes are very expensive. This one was this one I've got here, £1,700, now about £2,000. Okay, so I invested in it and learned about it. So together, these 2 pieces of equipment, a lot of money, and I'll never ever get that money back. Okay, so I have a code and I have the facility to be able to test the wheel speed sensor and the wiring, and that's the next step I should do, is do front door diagnostics so I can then confirm what the fault is. Okay, this is the only way to go. Components changing means that you don't know what you're doing. You're looking in a rough area and going, right, get the parts cannon out and fire a part at that. If that don't work, I'll change something else, and then get in a panic because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, this is the difference between actually being successful with a repair and failing. So I'm cheating here. I've pinned in to the connector, which means I can get a signal from the ABS sensor. It generates voltage. This is a 2-pin or 2-wire, which means the ABS sensor, when it's excited, it will generate a voltage, and I can actually read that AC voltage. Okay, so spin the wheel, make a deal, spin the wheel, make a deal, and it's dead. Yeah, so to me that's a positive diagnosis that there's no signal coming from this area. But remember, I said that this is actually coming up with a fault when it's static. Okay, so I would suspect that the ABS sensor is scuppered. Yeah, other way you can do it, now I've taken the connector from here, I could actually, well, I'm going to have to take the wheel off so I can get the wheel speed sensor out and then identify this. There's 23 quid from what I can understand. Is you can do a resistance check. Okay, resistance check. So got to go back into this resistance check, and I'm going to have to calibrate this, because every time on this one, which is the same as a multimeter, this is a MMA, yeah, digital DMA or whatever you call it. Do I want to calibrate the leads? Yes, I do. Calibrate the probe, put them together, calibrating all scales as it says there. Yeah, so that sets this at 0, because there is always resistance in leads one way or another, so I've got 0 ohms. Yeah, so the simplest test is to just check the resistance of an ABS lead or a analog one. If it's got 3 pins, then it'll be digital. It's a different matter. You have to then read the input voltage as well. And what we got at the moment, nothing at all. Here we go, 1.44 kiloohms. Yeah, can you see that? Okay, I like this one. It's got a big readout. Yeah, that is very, very high ohms reading, which means it's got big resistance. Okay, if it came up with infinity, then that would be a broken wire, but that's actually shorted. Okay, so next job is to pull that out and go and find another one on Saturday afternoon, which I'm not going to do. That's going to have to wait till Tuesday because we've got bank holiday on Monday. Now, the other way I tested this with the scanner was do live data and actually run it and see what signal I was getting out of each ABS sensor, and you can see here the live data has come up with a dead sensor. Okay, so I know it's a sensor. It's not giving me a signal out of this, but the resistance is very, very high. So yeah, resistance is futile, as they say. That's it. That's diagnostics positive. Yeah, you don't need a big multimeter. You need a small one, but you need a fairly good quality one, because the resistance readings on these leads will be terrible. Yeah, whereas I can calibrate this. Okay, you see that? Those arrows there say that's infinity. I put them together, that should come up as 0. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, 0, which no resistance. Yeah, infinity is, hang on, there we go, those arrows. Infinity means it's ultimate resistance. That is ultimate resistance. Now I just want to show you this, because this is important. How you pin things out of the back is to use very fine needles, okay, to push in the back of a connector, which means you're not going to damage the connector. You can read it on the back with the circuit in place. Yeah, when you read resistance, yeah, you have to disconnect and read the circuit that you want to, or the continuity that you want to. Yeah, whereas with this one here, when I'm doing a signal check, okay, that is input that's going to the ECU. Okay, so I'm just tapping in line to read the signal, and there's nothing there. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, I bet you if I fit a ABS sensor, that'll work now. Yeah, I knew this would happen. It always does. It always does with me, doesn't it? Yeah, because I'm ham-fisted. So get the wheel off, get the sensor out, and then go get a new one. ABS sensor these days is more critical on vehicles than it would be, say, on an older vehicle, 2002. So if you have a four-wheel drive vehicle with an automatic gearbox, and you have traction control, and you have low box settings, the chances are that the ABS sensor needs to be working when you're off road. Okay, that becomes critical. Otherwise, the system that's working together, the engine speed, the gearing, and the traction control, which is using the brakes to lock the brake when it spins, if it doesn't know what a wheel is doing, then it throws it out. Okay, so you need all four, for instance, and readings off that. So you come across a muddy bit of ground and the wheel starts to spin, you lose traction. Usually what happens is, with traction control, the brake will grab on that side or on the other side, so it will perhaps give it a diff lock type of experience, so it can then move on further. Okay, traction control. Okay, it's as simple as that. More the heavier vehicles, they use and demand the ABS system is working, because you have cruise control, but you also have collision control, rollover stability. If the wheels or the vehicle doesn't know what the wheels are doing, then it can't provide any of those functions. So it's fairly critical now. Yeah, and you're in a shit hits the fan situation and the ABS light comes up, then okay, you have to drive accordingly to that. You might suddenly realize that, okay, you haven't got ABS, which is only interventional. Yeah, you don't have traction control, so don't get stuck. Yeah, if you have an automatic gearbox which relies on that, it might not change gears. As I say, the sensors are for inputting into the ECUs, so the ECUs can talk to each other and then provide strategies, and that also includes fueling strategies for the engine as well. Yeah, so it's fairly complex. It's a very simple piece of equipment, but it's a component nowadays that vehicles cannot do without. Okay, so let's go on and go on to the next video at some point, and I'll talk a little bit more of that. I will just give you smatterings of this every now and then, because you don't want to be inundated with this. You just want to pick up a little bit of knowledge every now and then. I will show you with the oscilloscope how certain components work, because that becomes interesting when you can see them work through voltage graphing. Then you grasp it a lot quicker than what you would if you just see a voltage reading on a multimeter, for instance. Yeah, so as long as shit doesn't hit the fan too soon, then we'll just have to wait to see, won't we? But that's in the future. All right, anyway, see you later, guys. Take it easy.